So, guys, I want to talk about AEW, and I really want to say that they did an excellent show. Like, honestly, this feels like they've entered Wembley Stadium season. I actually sent a message to Tony Khan on Twitter just saying that, you know what, this is actually how you do a good show. This is actually, promos leading into good matches, good promos leading into good matches. And then the other thing too is that it's not like WWE because they overdo it with the promos. And then also too with WWE's, I think that they do way too much comedy, really. So like because WWE has really just become an extension of the Jerry Springer show. So definitely when you do characters that are more powerful and serious and driven, that's AEW at its best, really. And they need to kind of get back to that, just like a bunch of underdogs or a bunch of people that just want to show what they can do, really. That's what AEW is about, and they have to keep that. If not, it's completely lost. So I want to go through all the matches really quick. Hikaru Shida versus Mercedes Moné. I wasn't really into this match. You know that Mercedes is going to win. They both did a drop kick moves that didn't connect. I didn't like that. I really was saying, I wish we had Stephanie Vakir because imagine all that underdog energy, being alive. What if she did a promo about winning or taking like Mercedes spot at Wembley Stadium? Imagine how much that would have added to this instead of just throwing Sheeta into this. They did the Three Amigos, and it was countered with the Falcon Arrow by Sheeta. Another thing, too, is that you just had a Texas death match where Thunder Rosa won this, and you also had Layla Hirsch. So what would have happened if you actually had those two women that had a grueling match actually have Sheeta spot? That would make a way more sense than this, really, because then you'd be like, okay, we see this person, we'll go through this grueling thing. Now Mercedes is going to win, and in addition, they're going to get a beat down. Sheeta hits... Sheeta hits Camille with a kendo stick, and Camille sells it. And I did not like this because you're trying to make Camille look like this strong, badass, undefeatable type of woman, really. So what I would have done was I would have had Sheeta hit her. The kendo stick breaks. She no sells it, and then then Camille clocks Sheeta. That's how I would have done that, really, because you got to protect Camille, because you got to make her be like, okay, she's a special enforcer, so type of person, and you got to make her look formidable. You don't just have her kind of get taken down so easily. So so obviously Mercedes Moné wins, and that's that, really. Again, I wasn't into this match because it was very predictable. The next match was Jay Lethal versus Hangman. I like how they did the Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett promo, and then Hangman ambushes them, and then they do like this shot where it's like they're backstage. Now they go to the crowd, and then they go into the ring, really. And I like this because there wasn't a lot of going up the bleachers and fighting on the show, or someone going through a table. And I'm actually happy there's no table spots, because doing table spots or going up the bleachers, they do that way too much in AEW. So this was a little different. And I said too, Jay Lethal does, I think it said 5 top rope dives. What I also said was that we feel for Jay Lethal because Hangman keeps beating up people. He uses very dangerous moves. He's kind of like an asshole, but he's also kind of a dangerous wrestler. So he kind of has that Randy Orton type of feel to him. So again, as I said, we're seeing a character. We feel for Jay Lethal because he's being bullied by Adam Page, and Adam Page feels entitled to just take his anger out on anybody. He's an abuser. He spent a lot of time outside of the ring, but I like how they kept respecting the 10 count, because we didn't see what AEW usually does, which is that the referee can suspend the 10 count if they feel that that's right for the match, really, and that's completely stupid. Adam Page is a Death Valley driver. Adam Page is a Deadeye and a lot of just hard-hitting, brutal and vicious looking moves. That really goes with his character. So the move choice was good by him. And Jay Lethal is getting a bunch of near falls, and he's also countering a bunch of stuff. So he was really acting like a Ring of Honor champion in this match, because I think he has the record for the longest Ring of Honor reign, but he really did a great job in this match. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud how they booked him, because Jay Lethal can be a big deal. He deserves to be a big deal in AEW. And this is a way to reset him a little bit, So hopefully they kind of follow through with this, make him and Jeff Jarrett a tag team. They have to really just follow through with this. Hangman hits a lot, as I said, brutal moves by Hangman, and Jay Lethal does a lot of counter offense. Hangman I wish I was saying like too, I wish Hangman did a post match beatdown on Jay Lethal, or he was just trying to like really hurt Jay Lethal. I really wish that they kind of did that, because then you can set up Jeff Jarrett versus Hangman or something like that if they've not fought at Wembley Stadium. It could create another match with a bit of a story. Or what I think is going to happen is they're going to put him in the Casino Gauntlet and Hangman. He's going to win that way. But overall, it was an okay match. MJF and MJF video promo. The video promo felt very WrestleMania. It recapped everything they've been through. You saw clips of Ospreay's career. You saw intercutting shots of Wembley Stadium. So again, this really felt like they're treating Wembley Stadium like a WrestleMania, and absolutely, you're drawing 50,000 people. That's going to be where they're at. They can easily draw 80,000 or get the record again. They can. Anything's possible, but they had to put in that work. And they should have started putting in work like this, like maybe a month ago. Maybe like it should be a month and a half before something like Wembley Stadium. But I do think that what they've done with this was excellent. Transcended A+. But it's kind of sad that they kind of waited a little till the last minute to get to this point. This was kind of the worst part of the show. Pax announced that he's going to he's mad because MJF and Ospreay are having a match, because Pac is actually the number one contender for the international title. So international, now the American title. So Pac says, you know what, for his revenge for all of his anger, he's going to challenge the winner at All Out. And I felt this was really stupid, because now Pac is saying, I wish I wanted to have this match at Wembley Stadium. When he want to say something like this, I also talked to Tony, and he said, I'm getting a match at Wembley Stadium. So what would have happened if Pac said that? Because that would make more sense. He would say, okay, I'm going to have that match with them at All Out, but I want to warm up at Wembley Stadium. So what would happen if he had a match with Dana Garcia, a babyface, Mark Briscoe, a babyface? What would happen if you brought out Takeshita and you kind of did a who's better type of thing? What would happen if you had Lee Moriarty, who's the pure champion, trying to make him a bigger star by facing Pac, because they both have a high flyer style? What would have happened if it was him and Hologram, because Tony Khan's big on Hologram? What would happen if he had Ricochet in this? There's so much that they could have done to kind of not just screw Pac out of All In and just say, okay, I'm happy being at All Out, really. 50,000 people is better than maybe around 10,000 people at your your show 2 weeks after your quote unquote WrestleMania type of thing, really. So it was kind of stupid. I like the Darby Allin promo. I really like Darby Allin promo. He did an excellent job. I wish they actually had the crowd reaction to this. I like him saying, "Who the fuck is Jack Perry?" That Tarzan shit wasn't getting over. You're a child. Wish you were fired. I wish you were fired. The fans wouldn't miss you. What have you added to AEW? Like, all this shit was great. The only good thing that they did after this was actually they followed up with Darby Allin coming down, really, and then getting tapped by Jack Perry. That part worked very well. But when you have something that fire, you should have the crowd reaction. Sometimes when you have the Acclaimed music videos, exact same thing. You got to have the crowd reaction. That would have made this bigger and better. And then you have Darby Allin coming out, then Jack Perry coming out. Then that would have just been creating some big excitement, having a little bit more excitement, and then more and more excitement, like a train of excitement. Really, that would have been better. Then I was saying that you followed up with a Mariah May promo, and even though this was a promo-heavy show, it was absolutely okay. AEW doesn't do a lot of promos, or video packages, so obviously doing it a little too much in this show is good because it stands out, really. Maybe that's a good formula. If you have one or two shows with a lot of matches, you can break it up with a show with a lot of promos. So I'm definitely happy that they're trying different things. This shows that they care. They're not doing the TNA Dixie Carter thing or just doing the same old shit over and over. They're actually trying to be like, okay, we're getting 50,000 people, but we want to make it a bigger deal, and they're treating it like a big deal. So I think that right here it shows that AEW cares to just keep this momentum long term, not when things are a little bit dire. Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Orange Cassidy grabs the ring ropes, and I didn't like, he was doing something like where he's trying to charge, but he was kind of like kicking his feet, like maybe like a Shawn Michaels thing, but he was like holding on to ring ropes. He was standing, it looks like he was charging like a rhino or a bull, really. So you should just not do that. As I said, that's way too 48-hour film project. That's too stupid. That's really silly. You know, my dad ever saw me do that, he would smack me in the back of the head and be like, you know, you're acting like a retard. I know that's a little politically incorrect, but that's how my parents behaved. You act a little silly with your movements, you get smacked in the head, really. But that just, that just looked really stupid. And it kind of reminds me to when I used to act silly, my parents would smack me in the head. Because they'll be like, okay, stop acting stupid. It was a stupid move for him to do. Roger Strong does the enziguri. He throws Orange Cassidy into his knees on another spot. Like, Roderick Strong really is. He's really acting like a big deal, and I really appreciate it. But he's also living up to the fact his name is Strong, so he's lifting and throwing people. That's good. Roger Strong does a side slam. He does a side slam of Kyle O'Reilly into his knees. Roderick Strong tries to do a double Boston Crab. I appreciate the Undisputed Kingdom and Mark Briscoe and Tamura Ishii coming down. Hopefully it will lead to a match at Wembley Stadium. Like, I would like to see Undisputed Kingdom versus Roderick Strong. No, Undisputed Kingdom versus Mark Briscoe and a mystery opponent type of thing, really. Like, have Mark Briscoe on the show. He deserves it. If they don't have Mark Briscoe on the show, then fuck AEW, because he did a hell of a job this year. He's kind of been the workhorse of AEW, and he should be rewarded with a match on the show, really. And it would also elevate the ROH title, so I hope that they put Mark Briscoe on the show. If they don't do that, then fuck them for it. You had Claudio versus Okada. So I was mad again with this because that would have made a great Wembley Stadium match. That's Wembley Stadium worthy, but they're going to have that next week. Obviously, they want to have something to boost the ratings, so they're going to do it next week. But Okada walks off after calling Cesaro a bitch, but Cesaro was saying some hot fire stuff after that. So I wish some Okada was there instead of just walking off. That would have been better. But so as I said, it was good, but there could have been better execution. The next match is the Acclaimed versus the EVPs. Automatically, I just knew that the EVPs this was not going to be a title switch, and I also knew that they're trying to set up the EVPs versus FTR versus the Acclaimed, like a triple threat match. They're going to have a match between the Acclaimed and FTR. If they do something like they have the Acclaimed lose, I would feel really heartbroken, because I think then it does kind of feel like. Again, it feels like a TNA wrestling thing where you're sticking with FTR and you're sticking with the Young Bucks. You know, you have to have all. Right now, I think having all three is the best way to draw the most money. But just kind of limiting the Acclaim would just be like, what the fuck, really, type of thing, really. Unless you do the Acclaimed versus the Undisputed Kingdom, unless you do that, but that would be stupid. So I think they have to do a triple threat match. I'm not a fan of this. I think what I would have done was I would have done Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed beats the Young Bucks, and then you have FTR versus the Acclaimed at All Out, and then you do something where you have a match at Wrestle Dream, and you can do something like a best out of the best out of three. You have them have a triple threat match, and it could be a ladder match or something, a tables, ladders, and chair match. That's how I would have done it. But I think a triple threat match at Wembley Stadium is a little too much, especially since they're planning to do the Patriarch versus the House of Black versus versus that other team. I don't remember really, but I did think that. I really just think that that's gonna be a little too. That's gonna be too many triple matches or whatever. I also wish they had the Acclaim do the route, because the crowd felt kind of like dead and flat during this, really. So sometimes, even though they're trying to cut it off, really, they really should be doing it a little bit more. But I felt like the crowd was kind of like exhausted. They were not energized. Then two things is that they had a promo with Hook. And I like what Big Bill said. I'm going to shove your head up Taz's ass. He takes the pause before saying it, almost like he just forgot to improv, or maybe chose that just to be funny. It felt really funny. The promo that they did between Hook and Big Bill and Chris Jericho, and Brian Keith really. Like as I said, even though it was not meant to be funny, but it came off as funny, and they kind of ran with it. So that does work. So I was happy with that. Then you did the Bryan Danielson promo with, and then what happens with the EVPs and the Acclaim? The FTR comes down and messes up the match really. So I'm okay with that because that's a little bit different than the Young Bucks winning by being heels, because that's a little predictable. This was a little like taking something predictable and throwing some unpredictable elements into it. The next one, you had Bryan Danielson promo. You had Green Day have the time of your life. They showed clips of him in ROH and him growing through the years. Felt very WrestleMania worthy. It helps me subvert my expectations. I'm thinking that Bryan Danielson may win or he may lose. The next thing that I want to say is that my time's a little limited, but I really think that what they should do is Swerve versus Bryan Danielson, have Bryan Danielson win, and then you have something where at Grand Slam you have Bryan Danielson versus Darby Allin, and then Bryan Danielson versus Darby Allin. What you do is you actually have Darby Allin win, and then you have the triple threat. Bryan Danielson versus Darby Allin versus Swerve Strickland at Wrestle Dream. I think that's what they should do. But then it leads you to what you do at All Out, really. You would really have to pick a good opponent for Bryan Danielson and somebody that's going to draw. There's many people on that roster. It could be Claudio versus Bryan Danielson, or it could be... it could be Claudio versus Bryan Danielson, or it could be, John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. That would be the best way to do it. Or that'd be the best way. I could say even Takeshita, but that would probably be more of a television type of match. But there's something that they can do with Bryan Danielson if they want to make him the champion. But I think what they're going to do is I think Swerve is going to win. I really think that it makes sense for Swerve to win this. And then Bryan Danielson just to retire and be a part-time wrestler. Even though just to retire, I think that it does more damage for Bryan Danielson to retire. I think if he can still go, he should still go, really. But if you have him retire Wembley Stadium, that's way more better than the Tacoma Dome, So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Wheeler Yuta versus Swerve Strickland. I didn't even watch this match. I was taking a shower to get ready for work. I had to brush my teeth really good. But the thing about it is that I didn't like this match. When I was seeing clips of it, Wheeler Yuta got some two falls on Bryan Danielson. So it just felt that he wasn't ready for the spot, really. You look at somebody... look at somebody like... what's that guy's name who's been palling around with... Biggie Langston. For a long time he was palling around with CM Punk and Paige. So if you automatically have him had a match with John Cena and he's getting 2 falls on John Cena, or getting 2 falls against The Undertaker or something like that early on, it wouldn't make sense really. I think with Wheeler Yuta, he's kind of been like the bitch boy of the Blackpool Combat Club. He's lost a lot of matches. He doesn't look believable. He's fighting against a person who's a champion who has a lot of veteran experience. The same way I was saying with my example with Big E, you're fighting against people with veteran experience, and I don't remember the last Wheeler Yuta match, so it wouldn't be it wasn't a good match, especially for him to get two falls on the champion. That just only hurts Swerve, so I'm happy I didn't watch it. At the post match, Wheeler Yuta gets beat down. Bryan Danielson tries to save him. Swerve attacks Bryan Danielson. So I like this a little bit because you don't do the Mariah May and Toni Storm where you overdo it, and you had to overdo it in this one. This one, Swerve does an asshole move. You could still do Swerve versus Hangman at All Out. I think that's where they're going. But this way, Swerve is a bit of a heel, but he's not like a mega heel type of thing, really. So overall, really great show. I give this show an A+ because obviously they worked hard to improve on the weaknesses. This is very promo heavy. They really cared about Wembley Stadium, and they just have to keep this momentum. It has to be nonstop, getting better and better. And if AEW does this, they're gonna keep drawing money, and they're gonna draw bigger crowds. So this was definitely in the right direction for AEW, and they need to just keep this consistent.